What's up, everybody? Welcome into the early edge, and we're just starting right here with the three of us, man. No need for an intro. No need to keep it, buttoned up. Just gonna have some fun, man. EC, how we doing, boy?
AB, since this morning when I was on with you guys, I decided Sunday was going to be like a degen day where I'm like starting to play like halftime lines and stuff like that. I mean, we're not off to a good start. I had Kentucky in the first half there. They were up, 8 or whatever. They needed to win by 2, and now they're down 3 at halftime. I had in the first game, I had an alt line, Pitt plus 10.5, under 158.5. Pitt lost by 11, and it was 157. So I was close. I mean, yeah, and then Justin Thomas. Now, I wasn't going to win my showdown with Coach, but he just bogeys the last hole to knock off my top 10 that I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, AB. It's just we're going to turn it around. But
I'll tell you what. Hold on. I'll say this. I've been working on this soundboard here, so we're going to change the flow of it right now. Hold on. All right, that kind of worked.
Like that.
Props. You know what? We'll go with that one. All right.
Okay.
Dude, Jaime, straight from Atlantic City. Been doing some CBS Sports social work up there. How's it going, man?
It was good, dude. I was out there trying to get some content on the ground. And probably the best part of the night was when Houston was down at half. And then I just walked up to the pay window, which was, 10 feet away from where I was sitting. And I just put every dollar that was in my pocket on Houston plus 160. So
really?
Nice work.
Did you really do that?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I'll tell you, okay, one, that was nice work. Two, I'll tell you what, let me bring up the screen here of what we have for today. We're going to get into our picks and everything and keep talking some more shop here about the games. All right, so Xavier covers. They beat Pitt 84-73 halftime. Kansas State, Kentucky. Kansas State's up 29-26. Kansas State was a 3-point dog there. And these times that I have on here, they're all central because I'm in the central time zone. So, yeah, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, we got Michigan State, Marquette. 6:10 p.m. Eastern, St. Mary's, UConn. 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Creighton, Baylor. 7:45 p.m. Eastern, FDU, FAU. 8:40 p.m. Eastern, Miami, Indiana. And then 9:40 p.m. Eastern, TCU and Gonzaga. So, all right, that's what we have. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into our best bets because we've all got some picks here. And again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the most lightest in terms of we're just on here talking shop, man, talking ball. So any questions you have in the chat, drop them. We'll put them on the show. Let's run through the picks real quick. Don't have to give a ton on them. Just get them up, get them out there, and then we'll keep it going. So EC, throw it to you, man. What you got?
Yeah, first of all, I want to address one thing from earlier this morning, AB. I had the under 149.5 in the FAU FDU game. That line has dropped to 145. I would not play it at that number. Yeah. I mean, I got it. If you could get it at because I think FDU gets 65. So I think I wouldn't play it any lower than 147.5, maybe. I think at 145.5, I'm staying away from that. Now, I already locked it in, so let's hope it hits, but I'm just being careful about that. The one pick I'm going to add to what we did this morning, and then I'll run over a little bit later what I had, is I'm going to go with the Miami, Indiana over 144.5, and here's why. Before their first game in the tournament on Friday against Drake, Miami had scored 70 or more points in 17 of their last 19. They've gone over this number, the total, 144.5, in 10 of their last 12, and they've allowed 70-plus to an opponent in 11 of their last 13. Meanwhile, Indiana has scored 70-plus in 5 of their last 6. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking both of these teams are going to score at least 70, and it's just a matter of whether we can get the difference. I had that logic the other night with ASU TCU and lost by the hook at 142.5. So let's hope we get let's hope they both get to 72 and we get a winner.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you some numbers here real quick. Miami defensively, they're allowing over the last 5 games opponents to shoot 47% from the field. Then you look at Indiana. Indiana in their last 5, dude, they're shooting 47% from the field. Their defense played pretty well. They're only allowing opponents to shoot 40%. So I kind of feel you on this, man. There's gonna be a game that's scoring, right? It's gonna happen. I mean, I don't even know the number. What, Jaime, you put it up on social. What was the 75% of all tourney games have hit the under?
Yeah, I think it's about 75% right now through all the games. I know it was like first round was 60 something, I think, but it's hovering around 70%. It's actually insane. I know
It's nuts.
McClure is cleaning up with it. So
Yeah. So is Kenny White. All right, I'll throw it to you, man. Hey, we'll get back to it, EC. We're going to talk about that game. Jamie, you got three. Two plays in a parlay. Hit it up.
yeah, I mean, some of them really just sort of play into exactly what EC is talking about. Going all in on the Big East today. I think Creighton's going to take care of business, and UConn and Marquette as well. I think the Big East is going to show up strong in the Sweet 16. Don't usually throw parlays on here, but we're 4 days into the craziest weekend of the sports calendar, and I'm feeling crazy, and I think it's just time to just go get the bag today. So I think I'm going UConn and Marquette, and it's going to cash. So just get on board while you can now. And yeah, I love Creighton to take care of business. And for everybody, yeah, Gus is in the chat. Drop the bread in the chat because everybody who follows my picks knows there's one man on this planet that I love and does nothing but deliver bread to all of us, and that is Brooke, the ATM Lopez. His numbers 15.5 points tonight. If you follow my picks on SportsLine, we have hit this not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, but 5 times in a row. Brooke Lopez will make it 6 in a row. He's hit this number 11 of 14, and yeah, 5 straight overs. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. We are riding this wagon until the wheels fall off. There is no logic needed other than this guy does nothing but hit his overs, especially these numbers that hover from 14.5 to 16.5. Anytime I see Brooke Lopez under 16.5, I'm betting it.
It's auto bet, huh?
Auto bet.
Yeah, I like it. I got 2 plays here. Going team totals. I'm going Marquette team total over 71.5. Going Creighton team total over 72.5. I'll tell you why. All right, so first on Marquette, right? So rolling with the over 71.5 here. Look, man, like I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring game. Like you think Michigan State, you think heavy defense. Look, Michigan State's giving up to opponents on average their last 5 games, 78 points per. They're also giving up 48% field goal percentage. And then you look at Marquette. I mean, dude, they're averaging 76 points per game over their last 5, shooting 45%. Dude, I like, but their problem is rebounding, right? Like they haven't been rebounding too terribly well. But regardless, like I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. So yeah, I'm going to roll with Marquette over 71.5 on that one. And then you were talking about Creighton. You said you had Creighton, right? Jamie? Yeah. So with Creighton, I'm going over 72.5, and I'm pulling up the data that I had here on this one. It's kind of the same feel in that game against Baylor. Look, man, like, Creighton, they're averaging 81 points per game over their last 5, shooting 50% from the field. Dude, like they're just on fire. Then you look at Baylor, they're giving up almost 50% field goal percentage to their opponents, 70 plus. So again, like I think this is going to be like Marquette could lose, Marquette could win. Creighton could lose, they could win, right? Like, I don't know, but like they're going to be good games because every damn game's been good. You know what I mean? But like both of these teams could score, and both their opponents, I believe, are going to allow them to score. And I think both of them are going to kind of get pushed up. So that's what we've got. All right, let me pull up the they're the games, the schedule we've got. So, all right, like I said, man, we're just keeping it chill. Like we're just going to go through kind of each game. Again, everybody in the chat, drop any questions, anything that you had. I'm going to roll through them here in just 1 second. Let's just start it off. Let's talk about that Michigan State Marquette. EC, I'll throw it over to you first, man. What do you think?
Yeah, now I have Marquette in a parlay with Kentucky from the morning show, Moneyline parlay. M Squared talked about on the morning show, Michigan State is a trendy upset pick. But when Marquette loses, I looked this up earlier. When Marquette loses, their last 4 losses, they've lost 6 times this year. Last 4, they've given up 80 plus. Michigan State has only scored 80 or more points, I think 6 times all year. That's a small window there. Like Marquette's probably not losing a low scoring game to Michigan State.
No.
And I mean, Tom Izzo is a phenomenal tournament coach. We know that. By the way, Shaka Smart isn't too bad himself. If you remember him taking VCU to the Final Four, however many years ago that was. I'm just buying into this Marquette team. You know what? I think for weeks I tried to doubt him. Like, yeah. And I tried to kind of ignore that they were actually any good because it's Marquette and you just don't think they're going to be. But to me, like watching them in the Big East tournament and then watching them in the second half the other day, I'm like, these guys are legit. I would be surprised if Michigan State won this game. If they do, then Tom Izzo is a wizard, and there's a reason he's a Hall of Famer. But I'm just rolling with that. Marquette is not going to lose, in my opinion, a low-scoring game to Michigan State. And I just have a hard time seeing Michigan State getting 80 on these guys.
Yeah. I think I agree pretty much with all of it, to be honest with you. Jaime, your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think Michigan State, they had their upset. They had the nice win there, and it just, it wasn't exactly an upset, but they got their moment in the sun. I think it's time for the big boys to play. Marquette's going to take care of business. I agree with everything EC said. I don't see them giving up that many points to Michigan State.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Both of these teams have played 5+ tournament games this year, including, previously in the regular season. Let's see. Michigan State 2-3 against the spread. Marquette 5-1. Solid, man. I mean, some of them were earlier in the season, so it doesn't necessarily mean too terribly much. But look, I agree with you. I think that Marquette, and you were talking about the vibes too. We saw Izzo after the game, talking with Jaime Erdahl of CBS Sports, and it feels like Izzo and Michigan State. I don't want to put them down because Tom Izzo can make anybody feel stupid. You know what I mean? But you were talking about the vibes. It feels like Michigan State is kind of at their ceiling, to where Shaka Smart, they expected. They were like, dude, yeah, we're happy to win, but we've got more coming. You know what I mean? And that, again, that doesn't mean really anything, but
Right.
vibes do kind of mean something,
Right. Yeah. I just, to me, AB, this one, the total is something I would also consider. I haven't bet it yet, but I think 140 seems low. I feel like Marquette wins this game 75-70. It feels like that kind of a game to me. So I would, if I'm going to play let's say a same game parlay, maybe I'm playing Marquette money line and over. I would also don't mind an alt line. Maybe you play Marquette money line and over, 135.5, and you can get that a little bit better than even money. That's also worth a look.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was saying the exact same thing. Both these teams can score and they give up points as well. Our man Brock, dude, just got called into work. Man, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. And look, let me also say this. Today and yesterday. All right, so Big Cheesy, first off, it looks like, man, you had a blast at the games last night. Two, I like that Big Cheesy's been running his own show, in the chat, dude. It's been awesome, man. Keep doing that, dude. It's awesome. Let's see. Ron says, can't save a Spirit team in that half. They can pull away. Does anybody have the game on in front of them?
I got the score in front of me. I can tell you that. We have Kentucky is on a big run here. I think it's a 7-0 run. Kentucky 35-31 with 17.5 to go.
All right, nice, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's go to the next one here. St. Mary's, UConn, right? Hold on. Sorry. Big J parlay. I'm gonna do this one. Jimmy, I need that same game parlay for that Bucks game. What's good to put with your Lopez lock? You don't have to
Yeah.
You can sit and think about it. Take a look at it if you want to. If you have an answer it. I wouldn't put you on the spot. But
I haven't looked too much further into that Bucks game. The first thing I do every morning is check for Brooke Lopez's line. So I haven't looked much further than that. But I'll tweet me, and then I'll tweet back at you maybe later if I see something. I'll do some research before the game tips.
Well, let me throw something in here for that. Yeah. So on the morning show, PropStars said that he liked Giannis's under in points because Nick Nurse has a formula for slowing down Giannis. So he was on the under 31.5. Now I'll be honest, I haven't dug into it. I trust Jaime on his Brooke Lopez pick. So that's maybe something you consider. Brooke Lopez over, Giannis under.
Yeah, they're complementary picks too. You got the points are going to be somewhere. Yeah, I trust PropStars. So yeah, I would say I can't imagine me coming up with something better than what PropStars put together. So yeah, that's a good bet to put with the Lopez wagon.
There you go. All right, next one here. St. Mary's, UConn. UConn, 4-point favorite. EC, I've thought back to you, man. What do you thought too?
All right, so I've watched my share of St. Mary's games this year. This was a team that would scare me as an Arizona fan. Princeton is a worse St. Mary's, and obviously you saw how that went. St. Mary's would have beaten Arizona if they were scheduled to match up. 100% of the time I would have picked St. Mary's to beat Arizona. They're trying. They want to play a game in the 50s. Like if they hold Utah or UConn to under 60 points, I think St. Mary's can win this game. I wouldn't touch the total with a 10-foot pole. I mean seriously. I don't have a feel on this one. I lean UConn, but I'll be honest with you. In my original bracket before I changed it, I picked St. Mary's to beat the Huskies.
Okay, nice.
So I got UConn going to Final Four in my bracket. So I'm a big believer. And I mean, if you look at St. Mary's against the spread as a dog, it's a pretty mediocre line. I think it's just about 50%. Where I believe UConn as a favorite is covered significantly more. Yeah, they cover 64% to St. Mary's 53% as dogs. So I think at some point some of these bigger teams are just going to start taking care of business. I think yesterday was the day of upsets. I think we're going to see a little bit more chalk plays tonight.
Yeah, I mean it has to at some point, right? Let me pull up on the screen here. This is what I use here statistics wise, so everybody can see like what I'm looking at. I like to look at last five, to see how a team is playing. Now, obviously, it's going to consider conference tournaments, and now that each conference is built the same. But let me pull this up here so everyone can see. Let me just dig in here.
Well, that's a lot of numbers there, AB. That's hardcore right there,
dude. Yeah, it's a lot, man. But I like looking at it, dude. All right, so you look at St. Mary's here. Last five, 68.2 average points, 44.3% from the field. Rebounds were low. Holding opponents down though. Definitely, man. They're giving up high field goal percentage, but they're keeping them low. Keeping them low on rebounds as well. They're at 29.2. Let's see. I just kind of like looking at these greens of where they stick out. Stats against, again, points per game. St. Mary's keep them low, and exactly what you were talking about, in terms of where they like to play and win those games. Yeah, let me go to UConn here, so we can see it. I mean, UConn's efficient as hell, dude. Like, look at this. Like these greens, man. Like, solid across the board. 77.4 points per game over their last five. Almost 50% from the field. Holding opponents to 63.4. 27.8 points per game in the first half. Whoa, below 40% field goal percentage and below 30 rebounds per game. I'll pull this down a little bit, but like it kind of goes to exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, AB, when I would look at Gonzaga games, I was going to do the Gonzaga TCU over. I didn't make that an official play. We'll talk about that game. But like when I'm going through Gonzaga games, I just take out the St. Mary's games because St. Mary's was the one team all year that could hold them in check.
Yeah,
and they held them to under 80 points 3 times, and that's why St. Mary's is not going to give up. I mean, UConn's not probably scoring 75 today. I think that I see a game probably if St. Mary's gets to 65, UConn's in trouble. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree. They got to score. Like I 100% agree with you. Like if St. Mary's gets to, control the pace, the style of that game, you guys in trouble, dude. Is Shibwe? He going on a rebounding machine again, dude? He was on fire on Friday.
Right now, AB, he's got 15 and 12 with 16 minutes to go in the game.
Nice, dude. Look at DM Punk, man. All right, look. Shout out to all the hardcores watching here and NASCAR golf. Some highlight, dude. There we go. I like it, man. All right, let's jump into this Creighton Baylor, man. Baylor 1-point favorite. Total 145.5. JB, I'll throw it to you, man. Anything that sticks out to you? I know that you obviously got the great play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's sort of like two teams that one I really like and one I really don't like, and they happen to now be facing each other today. Baylor has not come up in a lot of big spots for me over the past few weeks. This is a big spot against a really big team. I know that Creighton's the 6th seed, but I think the line has shifted to where they're slightly favorite at 1.5. And yeah, Baylor sort of in the game against Iowa State, they just sort of crumbled, and I don't think they're going to match up well against Creighton.
Yeah, EC, your thoughts here?
So Baylor was a team that cost me the other week when they kept playing Iowa State, and I kept betting them, and they lost twice. And then we saw what happened to Iowa State, who is flat garbage. At this point, they were. The thing about Creighton that scares me, even though I like Creighton to win the game and I have them in my bracket, they're not a deep team. So their starters are better than Baylor's starters. But if they get in foul trouble, Baylor's going to win this game. If they, the big man Kalkbrenner is a beast. Shireman, the transfer who came in this year, he's a beast. Kaluma, Nemhart. I mean, this is a really good team. I originally in my bracket had them beating Arizona in the Sweet 16. And then obviously my fandom got the best of me, which is a dumb pick in hindsight. But I like Creighton in this game. I just haven't bet it. I'll be honest. This one's one I've also laid off of.
Yeah, it's why I took the team total. We'll take a look at these numbers over the last 5. You can see Creighton here on the screen, averaging 80.4 points per game over their last 5. Let's see, 48% field goal percentage. Rebounds are all right, 36.8. Their opponents hold it at 69.6. Keeping them down to 27.4 points per half in the first half of games of the last 5, keeping them under 40% field goal percentage. So again, man, like pretty solid. Let's take a look at Baylor here. Let me scroll it down so we can take a look. And again, I mean, this isn't the end all be all. I just like looking at their last 5, how teams are performing. Look, Baylor having trouble rebounding, 27.8, averaging 71.8 points per game, 45% for the field. All right, not bad. Holding opponent 69.4. Again, man, like they're giving up a high field goal percentage here. Rebounds as well. This is going to be a tight one. Like, honestly, real quick in the chat, Rebecca says, AB, who is the SportsLine tennis capper? EC, I would say Mike, right?
That's a good question. We have a guy that writes some tennis columns. I don't remember the name offhand. Is it Sean? Sean was his name. That he used to write some stuff. I don't know if he's still doing it. He does more of the Grand Slams. So today is a big one at Indian Wells, which is out in California in Palm Springs. It's Alcaraz and Medvedev in the finals. I mean, I don't even know. It's kind of like this game. Like, I know you did the NFL comparison, AB, of Creighton and Baylor. Now, Medvedev and Alcaraz are better than these teams, but it's a close match. Like, flip a coin. I can make an argument for both of these teams and both of those guys. I'd probably lean Medvedev just because he's been on fire, but Alcaraz is tough to count out.
Yeah, good point. All right. Just taking a look here at their recent results here. You can see the green, it's a lot of data for sure. Green to tell you when they're doing well, red to tell you when they're doing bad, opponent stats. I mean, there's not, like, this game is tight. Like, there's no real, like, edge to be found. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing great there. So, yeah, that's why I went team total, man. There's nothing that I super like. All right, let's jump to the next one here. FDU, FAU. EC, what are your thoughts here, man? We got a high total, 149.5. By
the way, I want to point out, as somebody mentioned in the chat, Jose Honorado is our tennis expert now that is on SportsLine. I don't know if he made a play for today's match, but just throwing that, you can check out the site and he'll have tennis picks. All right. So this one I mentioned earlier, on the morning show, I gave out under 149.5, and I'll tell you why. FDU, to me, is not exceeding 65 total points against FAU. How many is FAU going to score against them? Now, M Squared, when we were talking before the morning show, AB, he's like, FAU scoring 90 today. Well, if so, I lose. I think FAU scores 80. I'd see an 80 to 65 final. With that said, I'm not touching 145.5. I would play it to 147.5 and under. Anything, if it's lower than that, I stay away. And it's just a game I probably don't play. I don't see FDU keeping this close, in my opinion. I think FAU is the real deal.
Jamie, your thoughts?
Well, as a Jersey native, I strongly disagree, EC. But the thing that actually caught my attention, I didn't look into this game too much just because I am in Jersey, so I can't even put action on this game if I wanted to. Stephen O's model actually has them hitting this number to cover the 15.5 73% of the time. I was talking to him earlier today, and he said that the model really loves it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. 15.5 is a big number, and I'm not saying they're going to win, but they could, make it scary for FAU. So, I mean, if I was going to lean anything, I probably would take that number just based on everything I said. And, I mean, look at Princeton last night. That's unbelievable. Not only did they win in advance, they won.
They won convincingly. Yes, they did. But also, Princeton won their conference tournament, Jamie. They beat a legitimate Yale team to get there. Like, FDU didn't even beat Merrimack in their conference tournament, but Merrimack wasn't eligible for the tournament as they've transitioned to Division I. So, I mean, I think what you're looking at the other day is an absolute fluky win over Purdue. I hate to say it. I think it's just a pure fluke.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that had a lot to do with, Purdue just choking under the lights.
Yeah.
But, I mean, FDU did win a first 4 game, right?
Yeah, but they played a team that I don't think was above 500. I mean, the Purdue win is phenomenal. I mean, it was unbelievable. But, like,
I also
Texas
think
Southern's not very good. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me also say this. I think FDU, and their coach said it, absolutely, like, aligned perfectly against Purdue. Like, FDU being the shortest team in the country. Like, their game plan was 100%, we're not going to give you the paint, right? You could shoot. They didn't even guard them at the 3-point line. They're like, you could shoot as many as you want. We're not even going to get out there. Everything we do is keep you out of the paint. And Matt Painter and Purdue, like, they took the cheese. You know what I mean? It cost them. I don't know if they're going to align with Florida Atlantic. This team is good. I mean, look at their numbers. Like, I mean, they can score. They can keep you down. They're efficient. They could beat the hell out of you. Like, this is one of those where you might immediately tell that it's a 16 seed. Like, look, Ray Brown just said it perfectly. Like, absolutely just said it perfectly. Look like a 16 seed. Like, that could happen so quickly. You know what I mean? And FAU, I mean, they do. They beat the hell out of teams. And it's not like they, like, average 90 points a game. You see it right there, the last 5, 72.6. It's just that they score high and they can keep you down. You know what I mean? Again, Ray said it best. They're just a well-coached team. Like, they're just a good – look at their numbers here, man. They're just very efficient. They handle their business. So, yeah, man. Like, that's
well, AB, I picked them over Purdue.
Then.
Yeah, I picked them over Purdue in the early edge in our bracket challenge. I think FAU was really good. I know that our showdown the other night was very fluky. It was they probably got, messed up there. I think Memphis got some bad calls at the end of the game there. Doesn't help when their players were fighting each other on the sideline either. But that's beside the point. I think FAU rolls here, and I think FAU Tennessee, we're going to have some interesting discussions next week.
Yeah, I was on the wrong side of that Memphis game. That was
me too. It cost me $100.
That was absolutely a brutal beat. The game was over. The game was over twice.
It was tough. All right, real quick, EC, real quick. Do you know anything on this Sam Houston North Texas game?
Yeah, they're playing right now. That's what I wanted to say. So right now it's 27-16 North Texas with 6 minutes left in the first. The under 118 was really interesting, and it went down even further. But with North Texas already having 27 points in 14 minutes, the under doesn't look good. I would not jump in. I would just let this one be. I'll say that. I gave out a Utah Valley play tonight. I'm rolling with that, and we're going big on Utah Valley tonight.
Yeah.
With the points. That's the only NITU that I'm playing today. I'm staying away from UCF and Oregon, too.
Yeah. I feel you. That would be tough. I don't want anything to do with that. Miami, Indiana. Thoughts? Jamie,
well,
go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is my play for my total. I don't think Miami's defense is that great. The Drake game, it was just ugly all around. I think we see some shooting tonight. And I think this game is played in the 70s.
Jamie?
I don't have as much thought on this game. I didn't do too much research, to be honest, on this one. So, I would lean with what the EC says more above all.
Well, here's the thing. So thank you. You've got an Indiana team that's led by, Trace Jackson Davis or who is Davis Jackson. I always get that mixed up. He's a first-team All-American. He's an incredible big man. Miami is led by guards. I mean, Nigel Pack, veteran guards that got them to the Elite Eight last year. So you're going to see great interior play versus, great guard play. Although Miami has a big man, Norchad O'Meara, who's actually pretty darn good too. Yeah.
I was just about to say, all right, so on the screen right here, okay, so look at Miami. Look at their last 5. All right, you see it, the top quadrant. They're only allowing opponents 31.4 rebounds per game, right? Like, let me scroll down here. Like, I mean, they're averaging themselves 35.2. Indiana, they're letting opponents 39.4. Like, Miami might have a serious rebounding advantage in this game. Although,
here's the thing, though, AB. You look at Jackson Davis, this guy on Indiana. His last 5 games, he's had at least 24 points. He's had 24 in his last 3, then 27, then 26. The guy is on the season. He's averaging basically 21 and 11. I mean, I could see him getting 30 tonight. The problem is, can Indiana stop Miami's guards if they shoot well?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the problem. Like, honestly, man, like I wanted to bet on this game. Admittedly, I want to bet Indiana. But that's the problem with Miami is that, one, like, they can score at any moment. They don't play great defense. They don't really play any defense. And number 2, every one of their games this year, I swear to God, every one of them, last 4 minutes, Miami pulling it out, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this team is built to do it. So it's like you've got to have a big lead or they're going to steal it from you, man. Like, it's just what they do. So, yeah, I didn't touch it. Guard play in the tournament, if somebody's really good at it and they're on their game, dude, they can hurt you quickly. Yeah, look, BJ said it best. Look, Miami has better guards. It's a tough handicap. I agree. Like, I wanted to get all over it. Now, I do think I don't remember what the number is on Indiana in terms of their team total. You guys, if you have any other thoughts on it, like,
here's what I want to say about this. So in my bracket, I picked Indiana, but the reason I did that is because Drake was a popular upset pick over Miami. Indiana was the safer play. Now that these two teams are matching up, I kind of like Miami, but I'm not gonna it's not something I would hammer. But if I was doing a parlay and needed something to sprinkle in there with plus value, I just think Miami, if they shoot, if they hit 10 threes, let's say, I think Miami wins the game. And I think it goes over because of free throws at the end of the game. And so I would play Miami and over if you said, here's $100 to put on this game in a parlay. What do you do with it? I'd play Miami and over.
I got you. Yeah, team total points. Indiana's at 73.5. Miami's at 72.5. This is a tough one.
Yeah. That's one you probably avoid. Yep.
Yeah. All right, our last one here. TCU Gonzaga. I'll start. Like, I'm all over Gonzaga. I've got him -4.5 on the show. Got him on the site. Look, the reason being is this. You want to talk about numbers? Like, Gonzaga, I understand that their schedules are completely different, right? But this is one where I believe that TCU, obviously having the much more difficult schedule, I think they're wearing down. And I'll give you a note here. Like, look at the last 5. TCU is actually allowing opponents to average more over those last 5 games than their score. Right? Like, TCU's percentages are dropping where Gonzaga's are going up over their last 5. Gonzaga's points per game are over 80, field goal percentage at like 50-something. Like, everything. Like, I know that their opponents in the conference were different than other conferences. And I know that they played Grand Canyon, but Grand Canyon's not a bad team. Like, I know that they're, 14 seed, right? Like, they're a good team. Like, they're better than people give them credit for. TCU, they might not even need to be, supposed to be here. Like, they stole that one from Arizona State, but it is a tournament. Steal it, boom, take it, whatever. But I'll stop there. I'm all over Gonzaga, man. Jamie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the Zags here. I don't love the 4.5, to be honest, but this is the type of play. If I was going to play it, I'd take the 200 money line and pair that with something that I'm pretty confident in. I don't love the idea of laying the 4.5, but I don't blame you if you do. But yeah, I do think like them to win the game outright.
EC.
Yeah, well, this game could have been a nightmare for me because if GCU had beaten Gonzaga and ASU had beaten TCU, it would have been the two other teams in Arizona facing off against one another, with one of them going to the Sweet 16 while U of A got eliminated on Thursday. So thank God that didn't happen. I just want to say that. With that said, I agree with what Jamie just said. I'm not sure I would lay the 4.5. I could see this game being close. I kind of like the over because when Gonzaga, basically in their last they have not scored against a team other than St. Mary's since January. They haven't scored less than 82 points. So if TCU can get to 75, we're getting this over.
Yeah.
Like Gonzaga's getting to 80. If they don't get to 80, I think they may lose.
So, all right, let's hit on this real quick, right? So looking at these again, this is just the, stats. Like, it's not the end all be all here, but you look at TCU, their last 5, like, look what I'm talking about, man. Like, their field goal percentage is dropping by the game, only averaging 69.4. They're giving up 44% field goal percentage, 70 points. Now, both of these teams are poor free throw shooting teams. Like, they're not good. So that's going to be a big part of it. But let me scroll down to Gonzaga here, man. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Gonzaga is playing unbelievably efficient, and they're getting better by the game. I know that, like, the ATS spread and all, like, the records, it's because they're double-digit favorites in everything, right? Like, it's just difficult to do it. But, I mean, look at them, dude. They're averaging 84.8 points per game, 40.5, 55% field goal percentage. And look at it defensively, dude. Like, they're keeping teams 65.4 points, 28 rebounds a game. I mean, they're just, dude, they're playing good basketball. Like, it doesn't necessarily look at it like when you just look at, like, box score, gets a spread, like all that. They're efficient as hell, dude. Like, I feel Gonzaga big one. That's just me, man.
I hope you're right. I mean, I think Gonzaga UCLA in the Sweet 16 is among the more intriguing matchups we could possibly get. I mean, that'd be phenomenal out in Vegas. I wish I'd go back there, to watch that game next week, because it'd be great. You'd have a team that slows it down in UCLA against a team that likes to go fast in Gonzaga. I just think tonight the key is TCU. I'm going to circle 75 for them. If they get to 75, I think this game goes over. If they get to 75, is Gonzaga, could they be in a little bit of trouble? Now, Gonzaga generally gives up a minimum of 70 and scores a minimum of 80 if you look at their averages on a game-by-game basis. Something about this game is tricky. Who controls the pace?
Yeah.
Like, I think it tries to slow it down, too. Yeah.
Well, no, not to interrupt you, but like what you just said, I think it's two things. If Gonzaga is hitting their free throws early and Gonzaga is hitting their threes early, good night. It's over. It's over. Like, they'll run TCU out of the gym. But if it's the opposite, Gonzaga's missing free throws, TCU's hitting them, TCU, is kind of leading it, in the fouls, like, that's how they stay in this game. But I just worry that TCU, like, I'm not saying anything negative against them. Like, they are a very good basketball team who has ran through a gauntlet of teams. Like, they're like, you get tired, man. You know what I mean? Like, you just get tired. And Gonzaga, like, this is actually where playing like a worse, like, strength of schedule, it helps.
Let me say this, AB, if you remember last year, and I tried to forget this before this year. So TCU played Arizona in the second round. Arizona, very similar style to Gonzaga. Tommy Lloyd's a Mark Few longtime assistant. TCU had that game won. Benedict Mathurin, who obviously is with the Pacers now, saved the game with a dramatic three-pointer with like 10 seconds left. And it was a high-scoring game, so TCU was able to play at Arizona's pace, and the Wildcats won in overtime. But I'm telling you, I wonder if we see a repeat tonight. That's the only reason I'm not playing the points. I think Gonzaga will win. I just think that 4.5 scares me a little bit. I'm with Jaime on this one.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Jaime, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's more so I think Gonzaga is going to win. I wouldn't. It's the type of thing where it's like maybe Gonzaga really does start to make a run here now that they don't have the pressure of being the 1 seed. I do think they'll take care of business.
Yeah, all right, and I'll touch on that one real quick. EC or Jaime, either of you. Rebecca asks, get the updates on UCLA's David Singletary. Do you know anything on it?
So I've talked to somebody last night who was at the game and said that he was in the handshake line, with everybody. We didn't see that on TV, but he was shaking. I mean, the injury looked horrible. I mean,
but he got up and it looked horrible, and then it didn't. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume he plays on Thursday, or I think it's Thursday when they play Gonzaga. I'm going to assume that he plays, but I haven't read anything yet. I think it's too early because the day after an ankle injury like that, it swells up. So you just don't know. I think we'll know more by Tuesday, Wednesday, but if I were to make a bet on that, I'd say Singleton plays against in the next round.
There we go. All right. We'll go ahead and stop it there. Everybody, let's get back to watching basketball. Why don't you come on, chop it up, talk.
Well, AB, I got one more question.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you both. If you were to say that one team has looked the best thus far, who is it and why?
That's a good question.
Through 2 games, I'm going to give you mine, but it's kind of a cop-out answer. Based on something that Jaime said earlier in the show, Houston, second half last night, they were down by 10 at halftime, scored 50, held Auburn to what, 23? That's the best half of basketball I've seen yet. That was a championship half of basketball.
Yeah, that definitely is like what champions do, where they'll just take care of business. I mean, Alabama still has looked pretty dominant. It's hard to say. I think even these earlier rounds, it's still hard to say. I think next weekend is where we'll really see some of these guys get tested. But yeah, I was impressed by Houston as well last night.
We've got to finish today, like to fully answer that question. Because some teams have played 2, some teams have played 1. But you know who else? Arkansas. Arkansas played like, but they played consistent to what they are. Yeah. Right.
But Kansas also choked a little bit yesterday.
That's what Arkansas does, though. Like, I agree with you. They did. But, like, that's what Arkansas's done this all year long, man. Like, they just they let you kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like, like when you start getting nervous, they start running, dude. Like, that's the problem. And it could bite you. Who else played good? San Diego State. Like,
they're playing against what, a 12 and a 13 seed. So I mean, I get that. Yeah. They won like they should win.
Yeah.
I mean, VCU was a tough 12 seed. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Alabama's tough because Brandon Miller. Like, you've got to know the status on Brandon Miller. Like,
but they cost me one of my bets in the first game by giving up that 3-pointer at the buzzer. So automatically, I'm not going to say them. I think Jaime made one of the savviest bets that I didn't have the cojones to do yesterday, which was to bet Houston at halftime, because I figured all my brackets were going to go out the window.
Yeah.
Oh, I literally went to the window.
That's what the kid did.
I was like, is that real? I go, that's the line. I was like, all of it.
So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. We'll end the show on this. You just transitioned perfectly. All right, Bob. We just had it on the screen. Can you explain what a live bet opportunity is? Mike and Sia mentioned games that would be this, but I can't fully grasp what they mean. All right. So Bob, excellent question. Excellent question, because it's different for every type of game, right? I'll give you my perspective on it, and EC, Jaime, like, say the same things, because again, it's kind of like bettors. People look at it differently. However, to simplify it is basically to say this, like, if you had Kentucky, we'll just use Kentucky and Kansas State coming in. Like, if you came in and you thought Kansas State +3, like, you were all over it, but kind of like what we talked about Creighton Baylor, like, you weren't there fully yet. That's what you like. And Kentucky starts off 6-0, like, right out of the gate. Well, that Kansas State +3 is probably now +8.
+5.
Yeah, +5. Like, it depends, like, right? It's going to move, and that's where you're going to find your value, and you've got plenty of time. That's why, like, football-wise, Mike always says, look, live bet in the first quarter, or we're not doing it, because you run out of time. However, like, you kind of look for those starts. Same thing at like the beginning of second halves. Like, if you go into halftime and it's like tied, and you're kind of rolling with the underdog there, and the favorite comes out like a quick 4-point run, right? But you, like what we just talked about with Arkansas, to where now it's like you're getting Arkansas +5, you jump on it quick. Like that I know I didn't answer it perfectly, but like that's kind of the thought process, is where do you find the value? Where do you have enough time? Like, how does all that come into play? I'll stop there. EC, Jaime, like, your thoughts on that as well.
Well, I had Arkansas in the second half yesterday, but I played him on an alt line, so I had him +10.5. So I was really never in danger. I mean, Kansas got up to, I think, 11 at one point or something like that, but I was really never in danger of losing that one. But I got it like -200. For Jaime to go and see +160, the only reason I didn't have the stones to do it is because all my brackets would have gone down with Houston. So I'm like, I don't want to lose money and all my brackets at once. So I'm just going to let it ride. But, man, they look so good. Right now, like, here's an opportunity right now. Kansas State and Kentucky. You've got a game. Kentucky's up by 1.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Kentucky's up by 1 with 7 minutes left. If you think Kentucky's going to win the game, you're probably only getting them at like -2. Okay, I would jump in on that, right? If you think Kansas State's going to win and you thought that from the start, they're only down 1. You can get them plus money still, probably. Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Before I jump into that, one note I thought that was really interesting, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive I'm not. The first round of 64, I don't know how it went into yesterday into today, but I know that only 5 teams lost and covered, right? So if you do like a favorite, it's probably best to lay the points. And if you like an underdog, it's not a bad idea to sprinkle on the money line.
Pause that 1 second, because you know what? You know where else that plays? Absolutely, like almost like to the T, the NFL playoffs. Like underdogs, they either win outright or they don't cover. Like it's almost identical to that. So keep going. Like I just wanted to say, like it correlates across other playoff formats as well.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but yeah, like I agree with you. Keep going. Yeah.
And as far as live lines, yeah, I do a lot of live bettings, so it's hard to put out a pick when you're planning on live betting. But Gonzaga is a game I'm definitely looking for a live line on. If they fall behind early, that's a game you could probably maybe get them down to minus 120 at some point, and then I'd probably take that. Like I said, I don't want to lay the points with Gonzaga, but I do think they're going to win. So I think Gonzaga is a really good opportunity to keep an eye out for it. If you do like the game but don't want to lay the points, you might get a really favorable line sometime in the first half.
Yeah, and that's essentially what it comes down to, is finding the value. Second half, you've got things you've got to worry about. Time, you've only got 20 minutes left or fewer. Fouls, pay attention to that, especially star players. Mike broke it down perfectly yesterday in regards to Duke, and being in foul trouble with that. Like if Oscar Tshiebwe, like if he were in foul trouble, like seriously, that's tough because now he can't play defense. Now he can't rebound. But if he's not and he's eating, glass like he is right now, yeah.
The one rule I will say is like I said, I do like to live bet a lot, which is why I guess I had no questions asked with that Houston line. Like I could not believe the line. I thought like maybe like plus 105. They said plus 160. I couldn't get the ticket printed fast enough. The one rule, if you aren't familiar with live betting that I swear by is just know what the line was before the game. You know what I mean? So if Gonzaga starts winning and you're like, they look good, I would never in a million years lay 6.5 on Gonzaga, even if they look, depending. Do not lay more than what the pregame line was. Never lose value on what the pregame line was. Even if ECU looks good, don't take them +2. When you could have gotten plus 4.5. Those are situations you have to just chalk it up as a loss, because more times than not, Vegas is going to be right. Yeah, Vegas is going to be right with that original line. So don't ever give Vegas points when they're offering you a better line before the game.
Yeah. And also pay attention to the score in your betting app as opposed to TV. And if you have streaming television, like if you have YouTube TV, you are 45 to 50 seconds behind the books, right? So understand that as well. Use your books lines and scores that they have, because it's going to be faster than cable. It's going to be faster. You're damn 2 possessions behind.
Well, what I would do, AB, is you wait until a timeout if you're going to do it, because you don't want to spoil watching the game either.
Well, it depends if you're fishing. If you're fishing, then you keep it open.
Yeah,
I tried that last night.
Okay, William, look, we're going to end it on this because look, I think my dog has got it exactly right, dude. Gonzaga wins by 8 or 11. What, dude? I'm with you. I think Gonzaga runs wild today, dude. I really, really do. I like TCU, but I think that's coming to an end, son. Like, I think Gonzaga is going to do their thing, especially when the previous game on Friday, they get a little scared in the first half, calm down, take care of business in the second. Now it's like, okay, like we're here now. Like we've been in the hotel room for 3 days. I know where to go get a sandwich. Like I've got the lay of the land. Like I'm kicking that ass now. You know what I mean? Like I'm big. Dude, William, I'm with you. I'm big on Gonzaga. All right. Any final thoughts you guys have? We'll jump out of here. Let everybody get back and watch ball.
Can I steal one from my for our buddy up top? Let's get that bread.
Yeah, let's get that bread. That's what we're here for. We're here to get the bread and whatever you want tonight, Italian, white, pumpernickel, I don't care.
I'm going to get a sandwich right now because of that. I'm getting a sandwich right now.
Yeah. He says if you have an illegal stream, the delay is so bad you're still watching yesterday. I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for today. We'll be live Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Look, and I'm going to plan out some more of these for the Sweet 16, Elite 8, like just so we can legitimately just get on, BS around. People who want to do it, awesome. People that don't, like, hey, we'll be live 10 a.m. Eastern normal times. We'll be live early at 5, all that. But yeah, like I like getting on here and just chopping it up. You know what I mean? So I love it. William says he's going to post that money. Want to come in? Dude, I love it, man. All right. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be live 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, normal time. Till then, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. See you tomorrow.